All right, let's go ahead and begin. And we will start in a seated position, really connecting sit bones down either to the earth or to whatever you're sitting on. If you're on a chair or a bolster or a blanket or your mat, I want you to really feel the base of your pelvis. I want you to feel your tailbone and really lift up, up, up from that and relax your shoulders. So finding a straight spine, you're going to feel the muscles engaged around the spine and yet your body's still somewhat relaxed. That's where we're going to start. So kind of building from the ground up. Foundation is the base of your pelvis and your tailbone, and you lift up from there. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Huge sigh through the mouth. And so we just close our eyes and tune in to how the body is feeling. And we'll just kind of talk about it right now because it's sort of the emphasis for our practice. But this super straight spine allows all of the nerve impulses from your periphery, which is like your hands, your feet, your arms and legs, to travel to the brain and vice versa. So this central channel in your physical body is your spinal cord, and in your energetic body, it's called Sushumna Nadi. It's an energy channel that runs straight up and down from your tailbone to the base of your skull. So we want that nice and straight. We're going to be working today to open it, to clear it, to free it up and create space, so that all of that energy and nerve impulses can run freely and unimpeded. So kind of get yourself into that mindset and alignment right now. And as you're feeling into your body, just notice, is there anywhere that you maybe don't feel as strongly? Does it feel like there's anywhere that it's blocked or sticky? Just kind of notice those things. You don't have to think too much about it, just kind of intuit it. And then let's start breathing a little deeper and slower. Notice your thoughts and notice any emotions or maybe absence of thoughts or emotions. Notice what your energy feels like right now. And then let's go ahead and bring our palms together in front of our hearts and set an intention for practice. So maybe your intention is to loosen up a particular body part or gain mental clarity, whatever that might be. You might add to it to simply be open to the idea of energy and energy lines in your practice today. Maybe, just a thought. When you're clear about your intention, take a deep breath in. Big exhale through the mouth. And today we are going to start right in downward facing dog. So again, building from the ground up, spread your fingers, flatten out the palms. Start to press the tailbone up and back and start to press the heels down. Now you're not warmed up yet, so of course you can wiggle a little bit if you need to. Just kind of find your way into your downward facing dog. But once you feel like you can find some stillness, kind of relax your neck and you'll notice that your head, your neck will kind of maintain alignment with your spine. And then really push through your hands like those hips are pressing up and back. Energy through that central channel from the base of your skull to your tailbone. And then press those heels down towards the mat. Energy running down the back of the legs. So from the hands and the feet, the energy comes up and meets at the tailbone. And the energy runs from the tailbone back down to hands and feet. So it's kind of like an inverted V.
Let's go ahead and walk the feet forward. Keep your knees bent. Relax your neck. And I want you to just allow your head to hang for a couple of breaths here in ragdoll. As I said, we're trying to open up our central channel, but the purpose of that is because we want all of our energy lines open. I like to use the analogy of a garden hose. You don't want kinks and bends and knots in your garden hose, because if you do, you either only get a trickle of water or none at all. Think of your energy channels the same way. We want them all open so that the energy can just flow where you need it. On your next inhale, come all the way up and overhead. Reach up, spread your fingers, lift your chest, hold this. And then on your next exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So you can think of your energy that I'm talking about almost as life force or vitality, if that helps you. We want everything to flow. If it helps to think of it purely physically, you want your circulatory system to flow well, you want your lymphatic system to flow well, and you most certainly want your nervous system to not have any kinks or issues, right? We want everything flowing. So whether you think of it as life force, vitality, energy, or actual physical systems in your body, either way, we want everything to flow. So that's what we're going to be working with today. So from here, let's inhale, reach the arms up, and again, spread your fingers, lift your chest, and look up a little bit. And as you're looking at your hands, if you were to let the hands relax and the fingers kind of curl, you can immediately see that there's not as much energy, and that will make sense now, in the hands. So you extend the fingers up. Now, energy is a little different from tension, which would be like really hyperextended hands and tightness. You want to find that middle range. On your next exhale, go ahead and hinge at your hips. Try and lengthen your spine. As you fold forward, relax the neck and get your fingertips to the mat, even if you need to bend your knees. Then keep those fingertips down, and we're trying to create length in the spine again, as we lift the chest in this half forward bend and pull it forward. So you're kind of trying to come to a flat back. We're going to hold this for a couple of breaths. Imagine a straight line from your tailbone right out the top of your head. On your next exhale, go ahead and fold all the way down. We're going to step back with the left foot. Just hold your lunge for a moment and kind of notice if your body wants to hang and drape here. And if normally that's what happens, that's cool. But today, again, lengthen. So think about the energy lines, not only that central channel, but think about, in this case, your left heel, or actually the arch of your left foot. Imagine it's drawing energy in up this left leg and continues to just shoot it straight out the spine and the top of the head. The hands are firmly planted on the ground. There's energy in the arms. They should be straight. And you might be on your fingertips. That's fine too. Your right foot is firmly planted. And you've got this beautiful vertical line and horizontal line. Go ahead and drop your left knee down. And we're going to bring the arms up and overhead. And we want to kind of tuck the tailbone under. Again, we're maintaining spinal length, lifting the rib cage and pressing the hips forward until we start to feel the front of the left hip open. We hold a lot of tension in the front of our hips because most of us sit way too much. So we want to make sure we keep this open, because a lot of the energy that runs from the lower half of our body to the upper half of the body runs through here. Let's take one more breath. And then bring your left hand back down to the mat and just rotate your right hand up towards the ceiling. Now, I want you to be very conscious of your body here. So some people will really kind of have their left hand way over to the left, so the right leg is way out to the right. Some people will kind of get in a nice straight line, but have their head hanging forward. I want you to just be very conscious of where everything in your body is. Try and get your head, your neck and your head in alignment with the rest of your spine. Try and lengthen your spine and try and have a nice straight line from the palm of your left hand out the fingertips of the right hand. And then we'll bring the right hand down and extend the right leg. So today, this might be one of the places that you use a block, maybe, maybe not. But here's what I'd like you to do. Even if you have to pick your right foot up and move it forward a little bit, get that right leg straight. You might have your hands on your right thigh or on a block or on your shin or on the mat. But first we want to get the right leg straight and flex the ankle. Energy running from the arch of the foot all the way up that leg to the hip. Now here's the other thing. Just be very mindful that you're not one of the hunching and rounding crew. So I frequently see people that get this leg straight, and then there's this squeezing of the shoulders towards the ears, rounding of the back, like somewhere somebody in our youth told us we had to get our head to our leg. So everything starts to kink up and get tight. We want our shoulders down the back. We want to pull the tailbone back and pull the chest forward. Long, straight spine, that central channel. What you might notice, and in fact, try it out just for giggles. Go ahead and squeeze your shoulders by your ears and round down like you're trying to put your nose on your knee. Notice what you feel in your hamstring. And then don't change anything about the leg, but come up and pull your shoulders down, look forward, and pull your heart forward. If you are feeling more stretch in your right leg, I just want you to know that you're not stretching more, you're simply opening up the channels so that you can feel it. That's incredibly important because you need to feel everything so that you don't injure yourself. All right, let's take the right knee back to meet the left knee. Wag your tail a moment. And let's take our first child's pose. Backside to heels, forehead down. Take a breath or two here. Your arms can be extended in front of you, that's fine. Just don't let your shoulders be by your ears. And then let's come into Sphinx, a classic spine lengthening pose. So when we let the big toes touch and the heels drop open, what we're effectively doing is relaxing our buttocks. And we want to do that because if those muscles are tight and gripping, the low back can't lengthen. And right now we really want it to lengthen. So we have nice soft backside, shoulders down the back. And again, we're pulling the chest forward and literally this time using hands and forearms to pull the chest forward. Keep your backside soft. Take one more breath. And then move into downward facing dog. Now this is only your second downward facing dog and you've only done some movements on one side of your body. And yet, if you pay attention here, you might find that you're already starting to feel more. So when we open up energy lines in the body, we become more aware of every sensation in our body. Let's go ahead and take a big step forward with the left foot. And here we go. Think about the energy lines in your body. So if your right knee is drooping and you're sagging and you're hanging, there's no energy in your body and it would be visible, right? We want to look energized. So we press back through the right foot a little bit, thinking about energy coming through the arch of the right foot and coming all the way up that right leg, up the length of the spine and out the crown of the head. We have straight arms that are energized, pushing into the mat, allowing energy to come in from the earth through the palms of the hands. Take one more breath here. And then drop your right knee down. We're gonna bring the arms up and overhead. And again, to lengthen the spine, we tilt the pelvis, lift the rib cage, let the hips move forward. So take a few breaths here. And while you're here, just pause for a moment. See if you can figure out where the greatest energy lines are running here. And so just thinking that you draw energy from the earth and energy from the air. That'll help. That's my big hint. Let's go ahead and take this right hand down to the mat. Spine lengthens, left hand towards the ceiling. Make sure your head's not hanging forward. It's not hanging way back. You want your head in alignment with your spine. Hopefully a relatively straight line from the palm of the right hand all the way up through the left arm and fingertips. And we're going to bring the left hand down and fully extend the left leg. Again, just a reminder, if you can't extend the leg and the spine, use a block. You could even just have one block and have both hands on it. Maybe it's up here by your left knee or by your thigh. It's fine. Your hands can actually be on your thigh. They can be on your shin or they can be on the mat. But once you get that left leg straight and you flex the foot, same thing we did on the other side. I want you to pull your tailbone back and your heart forward. Chest pulls forward. So you're actually trying to gaze forward. You're not trying to hunch and round and lay out over that left leg. You're trying to lengthen over it. Think of it almost as trying to put your chin beyond where your toes of your left foot are. Notice if you feel that. And if you want to, just because we did it on the other side, it's a nice experiment. Squeeze your shoulders by your ears, hunching around down. Now you feel less. Lift up, shoulders down the back and pull forward. And now you feel more. Let's go ahead and step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach your arms up. Now, as you exhale, you're going to step your left leg back and spin your heel flat for a warrior one. And if you need to, take a moment and adjust your feet because you really kind of want to try and get your hips squared off at the front of the mat. Pause for a moment and refine your pose. Your left leg should be very straight, right? We don't want to kink in the garden hose. And we've got the arms up and overhead with the fingers energized. We feel very strong, but if you focus on the arch of your left foot and imagine that you're drawing energy up through your left foot, through that straight left leg, all the way up the torso and the arms and out the fingertips. That'll kind of give you an idea of what we're doing here. Good. Now, straighten your right leg. Kind of pull your right hip back and your left hip forward. Both legs are straight. Think about poking your tailbone back. And if you can, it takes a little core strength, you're going to keep reaching forward. And lengthening slowly, slowly, slowly. And then maintain spinal length. And bring your hands either to your right shin or to your block or to your right foot. We don't want you to keep your back flat. Hands can also be on the ground. So again, we're not trying to lay out over our right leg. We want to lengthen. Take another breath here. Try and keep that right leg straight. And then bend your right knee again and come back up into your warrior one. Now we're going to lift off for a warrior three. So if you are balance challenged, perhaps for today, use your hand, either one, on the back of a chair or a table or something within reach, because we're going to work the energy lines here. So we're gonna just kind of lift off. Left leg extends behind us. We want to hinge at the right hip. Now you can have a micro bend in your right knee, but you don't want a big bend. And the same applies to your left leg. As much as possible, have the leg straight. Extend the arms, extend your gaze, extend your spine, left leg, breathe. Bring your left foot back down, warrior one. And then bring your hands down to the mat and step straight back. Downward facing dog. I want you to pay attention to your energy lines here. Think about energy through your hands, energy from the arches of the feet. That tailbone is reaching up, 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 and back. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale the arms up. And then as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Now as you exhale, step your right leg back, come into your warrior one. Adjust your feet as you need to. And just take a moment here. So we already kind of talked about it on the other side. Get those energy lines open and running freely. So you don't want to have soggy arms and a bent back leg and a really overarched spine. You want a straight right leg, slightly tilting the pelvis back, lifting the rib cage for a straight spine, straight arms and straight fingers. Try and get your hips to square off with the front of the mat. Then we're going to straighten the left leg. Everything is straight right now, lots of energy, hinging at your hips, poking your tailbone back. You take your time. You lengthen, lengthen, lengthen forward. Let the hands float down to a block, to your left shin, to your left foot, or even to the mat, but you don't sacrifice that nice, long, flat back. Energy. You should feel lots of energy through both legs right now. Imagine that you can actually feel energy coming up through the arches of both feet, meeting at the tailbone, shooting straight out the crown of your head. Bend your left knee and come back up into your warrior one. Energy. Maintain energy lines. Again, if you need to put your hand on something to balance, do so, because I really want you to feel the energy running through the legs and spine in your warrior three. You're going to start to lift off. The right leg extends behind you. Your left leg is almost straight. It can have a micro bend. Right leg is as straight as you can get it, and you are reaching and extending the spine, the arms, and the hands. Put your right foot back down, warrior one. And then we're going to bring the hands to the mat and step back to downward facing dog. Now from this downward facing dog, go ahead and walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. And as you exhale, bring your palms together in front of your heart. So you might want to use your block and then maybe ditch it or maybe not. We're going to work a little bit with revolved triangle. And we're going to focus on the alignment and the central channel, which means initially you're not going to take a hand to the ceiling. You're not going to get to be way off whack. So we're going to be very particular about this. So if you know you have tight hamstrings, go ahead and grab your block. I'm going to grab one so that I can show you guys what I'm hoping you will do. So from the front of the mat, what I'd like you to do is just go ahead and step back with your left foot again, like you would for warrior one, but you keep both legs straight. And then let's really set this up properly. If you need to widen your stance so that you can get your hips squared off with the front of the mat, please do that. Frequently in revolved triangle, what happens is people's hips, in this case, would point to the left, and they're trying to lean to the right. And there's this huge curvature in the spine that should not be there. So your hip alignment is going to help you succeed in revolved triangle. So we pull the right hip back and the left hip forward. Lots of length and totally straight, both legs. Just like we did a moment ago, hinge at your hips and start to lean forward and lengthen. Now, here's the difference. You're going to put your right hand at your right hip and it's going to stay there. Your left hand must not be anywhere on the left side of your right foot. So here are your options. Your left hand can be on your shin. Your left hand can be on your foot, or it can be outside of it. Now, this is why I recommended the block. Your block is outside your right ankle, outside, and your hand is on that, and you're lengthening your spine, and you're pulling your right hip back, and you're keeping your right hand at your waist. So what are we doing here? We're lengthening the spine and rotating it, trying to get that right shoulder to vertically stack over the left. And that's where I want you to stay. And if you're using a block and you feel like you don't need it, ditch it. Remember, your left hand must be on the right foot or outside of it or on the shin. So your right hip pulls back. Your heart is rotating to the right. You're trying to get your right shoulder to vertically stack over your left. And you're lengthening from your tailbone through the crown of the head. You should not feel any curvature in the spine, only spinal rotation. One more breath. And then if you feel like you're vertically stacked with your right shoulder over your left, for this last breath, take your right hand to the ceiling and then bring your right hand down and step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, palms together in prayer. So revolved triangle is definitely a balance pose, right? But if your alignment is correct, the balance is easy. And if your alignment is not correct, the balance is not easy. And part of that has to do with physics, and part of it has to do with how the energy runs. So if I'm aligned, my legs are straight, my spine is aligned and straight, that energy is running through, and literally the energy will hold you in the pose. If everything is kinked and bent, then the energy can't do its job. So that's why I'm being so particular today. So let's go ahead and step the left leg back. Both legs are completely straight here. Your left heel should be flat. You want to, sorry, I'm switching out again. You're gonna step your right leg back. My apologies. I think I did this on Monday, didn't I? All right, I'm much better today, I promise. So you want your left foot forward and your right leg back. Let's align the hips. Pull your left hip back and your right hip forward. Very important to be squared off at the front of the mat for this to work. Then you're going to use your left hand on your left hip and just leave it there for now. Lengthen forward. Keep both legs straight, poke your tailbone back, lengthen forward. If you have very tight hamstrings, your right hand could even be on your left thigh. It can be on your left shin. Your right hand can be on your left foot, or it can be outside of it, or you've got that block to put beside your left ankle. Either way, we pull length into the spine, and then we begin to rotate, trying to vertically stack that left shoulder over the right. And you want to maintain that hip alignment. So you want to, in this case, be pulling back with your left hip and forward with your right. Lengthening your spine, continuing to try to vertically stack your left shoulder over your right. Feel the energy lines here. Take one more breath. And if you feel like you can float that left hand up towards the ceiling. And then bring your left hand down and step back to downward facing dog. Stretch. Feel the energy in your spine here. Take a couple of breaths, really lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. And then walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. Reach the arms up. And as you exhale, come to prayer position and just take a moment to come to a nice aligned spine, standing here at the front of your mat. And just notice, do you really feel things running more freely? Okay, so are you warmer? Can you really feel the soles of your feet on your mat? Can you feel your spine lengthening up towards the ceiling? Can you feel the palms of your hands together? Are you more aware of these sensations than you were earlier? That just means your energy is running more freely. That's a good thing. We're gonna do a second round of Warrior 3. And this time, if you have a block, I'm gonna have you start with the block, unless you're hanging onto something. If you're hanging onto a table or whatever, then you don't have to use the block. If you're not, then you're gonna put the block, we're gonna stand on the right foot first. You're gonna put the block in either hand, it doesn't matter to me. But what we're gonna do is place it about torso distance in front of the foot. This is not for revolved half moon or half moon, it's truly for Warrior 3. But you'll notice, if you've got your block on the highest level, and I'm actually just gonna use both hands on the block to show you. If I straighten my right leg and I have my hands on the block, my back is flat and I've got something to hang on to. And now I can just really focus on extending that left leg behind me and getting that long, straight spine. And then if I choose to, I can take my hands off the block or I can leave them there. So try that, take a couple of breaths. If you need to keep hanging onto the block, you can. But I want you to really feel the energy coming up through the arch of the right foot, shooting out the arch of the left foot, and if you're able to release your hands off the block, also shooting out the fingertips, and then go ahead and come on back up. So we just want to really open up those energy lines. It's an interesting way to do your practice when you quit worrying about the muscles, etc., and you think about just running the energy. So let's do the same thing on the left foot. If you've got a block and you're using it, and you don't have to, it's optional. Hands are on the block, or one hand is on the block, and you want to really extend the right leg, and then really extend your spine, and maybe you release the arms, maybe not. Focus on energy lines. And then we'll just come back down, and you can put your block off to the side. Feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up, and then exhale, hinge at your hips and fold forward. Look up halfway, lengthen your spine. Think about that energy line here in your half forward bend, and then exhale all the way forward into your full forward bend. From here, we'll step straight back to downward facing dog. Lengthen the spine. And then drop to your knees and take a child's pose. From your child's pose, you can just swivel your legs around and have a seat in Dandasana. So now as we're coming into staff pose here, Dandasana, you might notice this feels a little different today. If you've been doing all of this alignment and energy-based work, you should feel lit up energetically, right? You should feel like all your cells are just humming and buzzing. Your feet are alive, your legs are energized without a lot of effort, and you can sit with that nice straight spine without really having to go to too much trouble to get there. So just take a moment, pause here in this perfectly L-shaped position, feeling energy coming in through the arches of your feet
Energy coming in from your sit bones and tailbone. The spine, beautiful vertical open energy line. The legs, beautiful horizontal open energy lines. Let's reach the arms up. Energy in the arms and fingers, but not squeezing the shoulders by the ears. And then what I'd like you to do is just like we did when we were in that first warrior one and we straightened our legs, you start to lengthen forward, lengthen, lengthen. I would love for you to keep your chest and your face pointing forward. Lengthen. Keep your feet active. Imagine that you're going to put your chin on top of your toes. Then allow your hands to comfortably rest on either the feet or the ankles or the calves, whatever you can reach. And continue to lengthen your spine by pulling your heart forward. 2 more breaths here. Good. Now, as you come up from that, we're going to just go straight onto our backs. We're really not doing much in the way of seated postures. You might want to grab your strap. Most likely will, because we want to kind of keep things really very straight and aligned. If it feels good on your back, as you roll onto your back, rock back and forth a couple of times to kind of really roll in some length into your spine, and then side to side. If rocking back and forth doesn't feel good, you can skip that part. So down you go. If it feels okay, you're rocking up almost to a seated position and back. Do that a couple more times if that works for you. And then we're all just going to wind up on our back, side to side rock. Now that same alignment that we did for our revolved triangle, we're about to replicate that now, but we're going to be on our backs. So I'd like you to keep your right knee bent, and you're going to extend your left leg all the way out onto the ground. And as you're here in wind relieving pose, Pavanamuktasana, I want you to keep your left leg energized. So flex your left foot, that's the one that's out, and make sure that that left leg has some energy running through it. Not tension, but energy. Then grab your strap. Loop your right foot and fully extend your right leg and flex the right foot. Then what I'd like you to do is reach up high enough on your strap that your left arm is straight, but your right leg is still straight. Don't compromise this. Remember, we don't want any kinks in our garden hose. You're going to open your right arm straight out to the right with your palm facing up. Keep your left leg straight. Keep your right leg straight. Keep your left arm straight. And you're going to begin to pull your right leg over to the left. You may not go all the way, or you might flop over and your right shoulder blade lifts. Today, I'm okay with that. What I'd like you to do is find the place where you're able to keep everything completely straight, full of energy, both feet flexed, and you're feeling the arches of both feet, energy drawing in through 2 very straight legs that are somewhere close to 90 degrees. You're feeling nice, energized, straight arms and a very straight spine. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to bring the right leg back up, hug the right knee in, and bring the left knee up to meet it. Please feel free to rock side to side if you like. Then we'll keep the left knee hugged in and extend your right leg all the way out onto the ground. While you're here, energize that right foot and legs. You don't want your right leg to be soggy. We're keeping energy. Again, you can just imagine that the arch of your right foot is pulling energy up the leg, up the torso, and out the crown of the head. Then we're going to loop the left foot. Extend that leg up. By the way, if you're super flexible and you can grab your left foot with your left hand, you're welcome to do that. But you have to make sure everything stays straight and the foot stays active. So you're going to be
hanging onto your left foot now with the right hand or your strap. You want to try and get the arms straight and the left leg straight. The left arm is opening out to the left with the palm up. Both feet are active, both legs are straight. And we start to bring that leg across the body. Now it's your choice today if you let that leg stay in the air, which is what I normally recommend, or if you want to let it kind of plunk over and let the left arm be straight. I'm more interested today in your energy lines being nice and open rather than what's happening muscularly, although you should be paying attention to that too. So let's take 2 more breaths here. Straight legs, energy coming in through the arches of the feet, straight arms, straight spine. You can release your strap, come on back up, hug your left knee in, and then bring your right knee up to meet it and rock side to side. So we're going to come into a bridge pose now. If you're able to do this without a block, please do. I'd like for you to let the energy hold you up today rather than a block. But we'll still set up the same way. Big toes are relatively close together. Heels are sit bone distance apart. And just have your hands, palms down flat beside your hips today. We're not going to interlace because we don't want to squeeze in the shoulder blades. What we're going to play with here is allowing the energy to hold us up. Now, in order for that to happen, we've got to be really grounded through the feet. So I want you to feel the base of your big toe, the base of your little toe, and the base of your heel. Connect all 3 of those points and imagine arches are lifting up like suction cups, drawing energy up. We begin to lift the hips up, and that depends on your back and your body how much. But you want to pull energy up through the arches of the feet and run it the length of the spine. So things that you can consider are your shins, your lower legs, are they perfectly vertical? That will help, right? And then, is your rib cage lifted? Do you have a really strong, energized, straight line from your knees to your neck? And then can you breathe and imagine energy simply doing the pose for you? The muscles are just there to run the energy. So the energy is doing the work. We're going to try and hold this, if you can, for 5 more breaths. On your next exhale, lower down, hug your knees in, rock side to side. From here, now we're going to just take it into a nice, gentle, aligned twist. So I'd like you to put your feet flat on the mat again. Lift your backside up, just like we did for bridge, but you don't have to do it perfectly. Just barely lift your bum up and push it over to the left and put it back down. So now you're off center, your butt is over to the left and the rest of you is where it was before. Pick the feet and the knees up and drop them to the right. When you do this, this really gets the spine lengthened and straightened on your mat. And so then just let your left arm open out, let your head turn to the left. And then in this position, relax. Your spine is straight. And unless you shift your hips, it'll remain so. So you can adjust your knees or your feet or whatever you need to do, but maintain that beautiful spinal length. And if it feels okay, let your head turn to the left. Now I want you to feel the energy line of your spine here. And for about 4 more breaths, I want you to imagine that you're breathing up and down your spine. On your next inhale, go ahead and bring your legs back up. Put your feet flat on the mat. Remember, you are off center, right? So we have to fix that and adjust it the opposite direction. So we're gonna pick our backside up, and instead of bringing it back to center, we're just gonna keep on going and push way over to the right and put your backside back down. So right now, my feet and my head are in one place and my butt's off to the right. You're gonna pick your feet and knees up and now drop them over to the left. You should feel a really nice, very straight aligned spine here. Relax your feet, relax your face, relax your fingers. Turn your head to the right. In this position, we're really just focusing on this central channel. So the periphery gets to relax. Your fingers can curl, your feet relax, whatever needs to happen. But your spine is very straight. And then we do those breaths up and down the spine. On your next inhale, you can bring your legs back up. Put your feet on the mat and readjust. Finally, you get to bring your bum back to center. So now you're back where you belong, in the center of the mat, everything aligned. Knees are bent, they're pointing up. I want you to just take a moment with your feet flat, your knees bent, your back should be relatively flat. Let your arms extend down by your hips for a moment. I'd like you to pause right here before we do anything else. Feel the soles of your feet. Feel the arches of the feet. Feel how from the arches of your feet up to your knees is one energy line. From your knees to your hips is another energy line. Your entire spine through the crown of the head is another energy line. And your arms and hands and fingers are another energy line, and yet they're all connected. Notice if you feel your body more. Notice if you feel warmth or tingling in your hands or fingers. Notice if the spine feels longer, if your body just feels warm. And then go ahead and begin that little breath-centered movement where you drop your knees to one side on an exhale, bring them up on an inhale. Drop them the opposite way on an exhale, and bring them back up. Couple more times. And then I want you to just allow your back to flatten. You can do this with your knees dropped open like we normally do if you're used to that and you prefer that, or you can just keep the knees pointing up today. Really press your low back into the mat. And then just like that, we're gonna extend the legs. And what I'd like you to do today that's a little different is I want you to sharply flex the feet and activate your legs like we do when we're in Dandasana. Energy running through arms and fingers. That means your fingers are flattened out on the floor. You've just lengthened your spine. The crown of the head is pulling up. So now you feel a lot of energy running through your body. Take a huge inhale through your nose. Now as you exhale, release it all. Release the energy in the body. Release your breath. Release any muscular tension. Just let it all go. Close your eyes and notice now So the prana, the life force, that vital energy that you spent your entire practice generating and running. Notice how your body feels. Again, I like to kind of describe it, at least for me, it just feels like every single cell, and there are literally trillions of them in your body. Every single cell is just buzzing with life. It's humming with life. See if you can feel that. And as you're paying attention to how everything feels from the standpoint of vitality, notice if there is anywhere at all in your body that doesn't feel that way. Is there anywhere in the body that's not humming and buzzing with life? And if you do find such a place, can you focus on it enough to open it and allow the energy to run? Can you invite it to release and let go and open so that the energy can run everywhere? Take a few more breaths to really enjoy this awareness that you have of the energy running through your body. And again, if it helps you to think of that purely as nerve impulses and blood flow in the circulatory system and lymph flow in the lymphatic system, if that helps you to think of it that way, awesome. If you can actually feel the life force, the energy, that thing that can't really be measured, if you can tune into that, even better. Let's start to move the fingers and toes a little bit. Take a really big inhale, let that energy extend the fingers and toes, and then exhale and relax. And as you inhale again, reach the arms up and overhead, feeling the energy, extending the arms and legs, and then exhaling and relaxing. Hug your knees in or just bend them. And then roll to your right side. And as you feel ready, press up into sitting. So as you find that straight spine, again, just notice, can you feel maybe a little more than you did at the beginning of your practice? Can you feel where your sit bones are touching the earth? There's a connection there. Can you feel that lengthening of the spine that almost automatically happens? Just notice that. And then we're just going to do 3 basic Ujjayi breaths. So just normal yoga breathing. However, I would like you to imagine yourself like a self-circulating energy fountain. So here's the image, if you can imagine this. That the energy is coming up through the center part of your spine where you're seated. It is coming out the crown of the head, cascading around almost like a water fountain would, and coming back up through the tailbone. So you're just circulating this energy. So it comes up through the tailbone, up the spine, out the crown of the head, cascades down and back in and out. So you're just
constantly running this beautiful life force and energy through you. So straight spine, that vision of that energy running, and just 3 nice, deep, slow Ujjayi breaths. As you finish your 3rd Ujjayi breath, let your breathing go back to normal. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. So first and foremost, take a moment in gratitude that you have the capacity to be aware of this animating life force, this thing that keeps your body alive. You have the capacity to tune into that. And because of this practice of yoga, you have the tools you need to increase that energy, that life force. And if you really like, you can use those same tools to share it with others. So gratitude for your body, gratitude for your breath, gratitude for the prana, the life force, the energy, gratitude for that part of you that has the knowledge of your own energy and life, that awareness of. And then take one more big breath in. Nice, happy sigh. Bringing palms together in front of our foreheads. We're just reminded to be present. Bringing palms together in front of our mouths. We're reminded to speak our truth. And bringing palms together in front of our hearts. We're reminded to keep our hearts open. To always practice kindness, compassion, and to remember to include ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.